All right, thank you, Eric. We're going to go to breaking news right now from the state capitol. Democrats have set up a special election on redistricting for the fall. Here's Governor Newsom. Let's listen in.
I want to first just briefly back up and pick up a little bit on what the Speaker and the Pro Tem said, and just remind everybody what they reminded you that need to be reminded, all of us again, of how we got here. We got here because the President of the United States is struggling. We got here because the President of the United States is one of the most unpopular presidents in U.S. history. We got here because he recognizes that he will lose the election. Congress will go back into the hands of the Democratic Party next November. We got here because of his failed policies. Those are being exposed hour by hour, reinforced today by Walmart announcing they'll be raising prices because of the tax increases, because of the tariffs. Reminded every day by a slowing economy, growing mistrust, distrust all across this nation, across the board. He is failing. He recognized that, and that's why he made a phone call to Greg Abbott asking for 5 seats. You can't win by playing by traditional sets of rules. He plays by no rules. I remind you all the time, it's not the rule of law, it's the rule of Don. And we're standing up to that. We're responding to that. They fired the first shot, Texas. We wouldn't be here had Texas not done what they just did. Donald Trump didn't do what he just did. He went so far as to follow up and say that he didn't just want those 5 seats. He said he's, quote unquote, entitled to those 5 seats. Just pause and reflect on that. Everything should have just stopped there. President of the United States claiming he's entitled to 5 seats. That should put chills up your spine. Every Republican, not just Democrat and Independent, every American, those enduring values that we celebrate, just celebrated 249 years, the best of the Roman Republic, Greek democracy, the rule of law, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty. What we'll celebrate, will we? Next year, the 250th anniversary. Masked men at the site of the Japanese that were interned and bussed in Little Tokyo last week in Los Angeles were sent right there in front of the Democracy Center as we kicked off this effort. That's a preview of things to come all across the United States of America. Mark my word, just as we let folks know what was going to happen in other cities, what is happening in Washington, D.C. We said 2 months ago, Los Angeles is a preview of things to come with the federalization of the National Guard, with the militarization of the streets of America. And I'll remind you, Donald Trump never sent the military, active duty military, in his first term or now even his second term, anywhere overseas. He sent them to a United States city. They remain federalized National Guard, interestingly, through Election Day. $175 billion in the bill that was just signed to reinforce the ranks of ICE, Homeland Security, for what is increasingly becoming self-evident to anyone with eyes wide open and any level of objectivity, a private army for Donald Trump, owing an oath only to him, not the Constitution of the United States. You just heard from the Speaker that vote-in-mail ballots are being threatened by the President of the United States. 80% of Californians, no coincidence, 80% submitted their ballots in the last election, 86% in 2022, 88% in 2020. He's trying to rig the election. He's trying to set up the conditions where he can claim that the elections were not won fair and square. Open your eyes to what is going on in the United States of America in 2025. That's what this is about. We're responding what occurred in Texas. We're neutralizing what occurred, and we're giving the American people a fair chance. Because when all things are equal, and we're all playing by the same set of rules, there's no question that the Republican Party will be the minority party in the House of Representatives next year. We'll be transitioning, and I'll close, from this process that has unfolded over the course of the last few weeks to the campaign. After I sign these two pieces of legislation establishing a special session and the maps, I also will be signing a proclamation on November 4th, the people of the state of California, in a transparent and, as Speaker and Pro Tem said, temporary and democratic way, will have the opportunity to determine their fate and our collective future. And I couldn't be more proud, again, of the extraordinary leaders that are standing up for the rule of law, are standing up for the principles and those enduring values of our founding fathers. Thank you for getting us to this point. We have a lot more work to do to get this done on November 4th.
You just heard remarks here from Governor Gavin Newsom. He says the president is failing. That prompted the call to Texas Governor Greg Abbott to drop new congressional maps. He says California here is just responding. Let's
call in our political expert on all of this, our Conan Nolan. He's standing by in the newsroom with more. Conan?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of an expert. This has been a wild process. Gavin Newsom, though, in those moments and what he's doing right now, putting pen to paper on these three pieces of legislation that will establish this special election in November, cementing his position nationally as the head of the opposition to President Donald Trump. There is no question about it. There's no Democrat nationally who has risen to the occasion, you might say. It's certainly in the eyes of Democrats, to this moment. The governor, seen here by Democrats throughout the country as the one who is doing everything he possibly can to confront the administration in terms of the economics coming out of the White House and the tariffs, as well as the National Guard. And, of course, on social media, we've been talking about the ridicule that the governor's press office has been trying to place towards the administration, ridiculing former president or current President Trump's social media tweets and X posts. The governor here, as he signs these, is rolling the dice. This is not a done deal. He's going to have to raise a lot of money for this campaign. I understand already, I've been told, already brochures have been mailed to Republicans that arrived in the mail today in opposition to this special election to vote no. I think President Trump is going to do everything he can to raise money against this campaign. And it all took place earlier today under the dome of the California State Capitol.
Conan, ultimately, could this be challenged in court at all?
Everything can be challenged in court, Colleen. And yes, Republicans said that they will do what they can. They tried to get the California Supreme Court to intercede immediately. Yesterday, the state Supreme Court says, no, we're not taking getting involved in this. The Democrats have said this has been done legally. And remember, the Democrats are pointing out to the fact that this is a vote of the public. They're not, yes, the process has been uneven. The Republicans were upset that they didn't know who actually drew the maps. Was it a consultant for the Democrats out of Washington? Doesn't matter. Democrats say this will go before voters. They will decide. And you're going to start to see this campaign. Gavin Newsom is in this with both feet. He has to win this. If he doesn't, his political career is over, as certainly any kind of campaign for the presidency is over. He is fully vested in this, as are Democrats. You're going to see a lot of commercials. You're going to see a lot of things showing up in your mail. The Democrats need this to pass. Republicans are trying to strangle it at the ballot box. They were unsuccessful today. Maybe they can do something in November, but it's going to be Democrats want to make this about Donald Trump. A yes vote is opposed to Donald Trump. A no vote supports Donald Trump. That's what they want this election to be about. And in a state where Donald Trump isn't very popular, they think they believe they've got a very good chance of winning this fall.
All right, Conan, live on our news and more to come on this. We appreciate